Welcome to One Set Feeling with Shanky's Clips, where we show you smaller clips of our larger episodes. So keep watching and keep learning. Whenever we talk about love,
Yes.
okay, love is definitely one side where you're talking about your lover. But when we talk about love, we also talk about friendships.
Yeah.
How has friendships been in your life, Sani?
Friendships. So, like I said, I've moved around a lot of countries. Maintaining friendships was the hardest thing. So, in my book, I talk about like the idea of friendship is almost like a tree. So, people in your life are part of it, like part of a tree. So, you have the leaves, you have the stems or the branches, and you have the roots. So, roots are the people who, stay no matter the weather, and they are the ones, they will never be many in number because they are like what you call your close friends. And so I feel like over time, over the years, whether I was in India, whether I was in Cape Town, whether I was in Dubai, there have only been very few people who have stuck throughout, who have actually bothered to maintain that, contact and both ways, despite, distance, despite other people, so many factors. And so I feel like friendships in my life have definitely been hard in the sense that there was so much instability. But then I've always seen, like, I know the people even today who care. I never even have to text them every day, but I know they're there. I know they are my roots. And then I'm like eternally grateful for them because I know they're only a handful. I know they're not so many, but they're quality friendships. I can talk to them. I will literally call one person, like this one friend of mine, when I'm going through something, and he'll do the same, and we'll just like listen. Like even now, every Wednesday we send each other 2-minute video updates. We started doing that recently.
Amazing.
But it's just like to keep that friendship going. We don't talk every day, but we know we are there for each other no matter what other new people we meet.
Amazing. And I think when you talk about this, I realize that as you grow older,
Yeah,
you start losing more people in life.
definitely.
So I think when you were a teenager, when you were in school, you had, say, 50 friends.
Yeah.
When you are 15, you have, say, 30 friends.
Yes.
When you are 20, you have, say, 20 friends. When you are 22, you have 10 friends. When you are 25, you have 5 friends.
Yes.
But those 5 friends are the quality
They are
friends you would want.
quality friends.
So I realized as you grow in life, the number of people in your life keeps decreasing.
They decrease.
But you start finding that these are your real people.
Yes.
Your real ones will always stick by
like
you.
probably the 30, like you mentioned, half of them wouldn't even be real.
Exactly. And do you think this is good? Like losing people when you grow older?
I think it's for the best because I notice, at least in my life, maintaining friendships is hard. If you are juggling so many friendships, you are literally going to go crazy. So then when I find that, okay, these are the people who actually matter to me, these are the people I'll show up for no matter what, it's good only that they're less in number.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing, just identifying people who really matter versus people who, they were just so superficial. They didn't really add any value to your life. They were there just for the sake of, being there. Yeah, I always focused on quality over quantity.
And when you talk about friendships, Ania, what is true friendship to you?
True friendship, definitely one element of it is empathy. I think empathy is like the bedrock of any relationship you make in life. I learned a lot about empathy from my sister. Like I told you, she's the empathy queen. Everyone used to call her Miss Mood Rings in 7th standard because she could just understand everyone's emotions. But I feel like for friendships, it's always the little things that you do for the people you love.
Absolutely.
Or the people you care about, to show them that you care. So whether it is being happy for somebody, being happy about the things that your friend is happy about, and more importantly, showing that happiness, even if you don't give a shit, even if you don't care. Like my friend, once she was telling me about this family trip she had in Vancouver, and I was out of it. I literally, I was thinking about something else, but then I realized, okay, there's a reason why she's telling me this. Like, people have intentions. Listen to those intentions, even if you don't care. Just listen to them, because there's a reason why they're not
Telling it to someone else and telling it to you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or like empathy in the sense, like if you are in a group of friends, and you can see that your friend is being excluded, or because for her or him the conversation is like flown to another
Right,
galaxy.
right.
Like why can't you, like you including them, making that effort, it's like that's what
Absolutely.
empathy is, like putting yourself in the shoes of others. And
Wow.
to me that means so much, like when somebody does that. Even when I'm walking home late in Seattle, I told you it's so unsafe, and then my friends like text me when you get home, and then when I don't text them, like they text me to make sure that like I'm fine. Like that is such a
It's a
beautiful
joyful
thing.
moment.
It's such a joyful moment. Like they're so empathetic, they care about me. It's like the most beautiful thing. And
Wow.
yeah, so I think empathy is definitely something.
And it's so difficult to find such friends.
It's very
Sanya.
difficult.
And when, as I mentioned, everything has become so transactional
It
in
has.
today's world,
Yeah.
finding true friends is so difficult.
It's so hard. Like somebody who's genuinely interested in your life. Like when in a world where there's so much ego, everything's like me. Why would you care about somebody else's? But when people do that, it's like I have found a gem.
Right. How do you differentiate between good friends and toxic friends?
Yeah, so I feel like again, toxic friends, they will never ever have your best interest. But good friends, they know that what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and they'll never ever like use that against you. But toxic friends, on the other hand, they're like you like through meeting them again and again and again, you'll realize that they actually really want to see me succeed. Like
Yeah.
they want to see me fail.
You're right.
Like I had one friend who no matter what I was going through, she would just never be happy for me, or she would always like like manifest that in the form of envy instead of actually like
Oh, shit.
celebrating that win with me or celebrating that happiness with me. Then they're toxic because the world revolves around them. It doesn't, like you are just you don't mean anything to them, and that just becomes so toxic because you're like, I need people who are genuinely happy for me. I need people who I can celebrate my wins with,
Yes.
who will be happy for me. But then some people just everything's about them.
One thing you've learned over the years as you've grown, like one
Yeah.
thing you've learned as you've grown about friendship.
One thing is obviously the fact that you can never really have somebody stay in your life forever. Again, I would come back to this because I feel like I'm somebody who used to get so emotionally attached to people.
We are on the same page.
I'm somebody like, if she's my friend, she'll always have to be my friend. But people move on. Like I had this really close childhood friend. We would go to water parks together every weekend. But then over the years we drifted because I moved a lot. We did different college experiences and everything. But then I just wasn't able to accept the fact that things aren't the same.
Right.
Like now when I talk to them, it's like we're just not on the same page. But learning to let that go and learning that this is part of life. Like people leave and there's nothing you can do about it. I think that's the hardest things about friendship. It's the ugliest thing as well, because you want people, like I shared a whole history, a whole past with this person, but now I can't even like look at them and like feel, they don't even feel that way with me. And accepting that is like really hard.
And with that, I believe in one thing, Sanya, that we all talk about breakups.
Yes.
We all talk about heartbreaks, like breakups and relationships and everything. We all talk about breakups, but no one talks about the breakup that we have with our friends.
Oh my God.
Like, I think losing friendship is harder than a breakup nowadays.
100% agree. And I relate to it so much because I actually went through this like a few months ago. And it's been the hardest thing. It was with one of my flatmates. We were like extremely close. But then we realized like our values and our definitions of giving and receiving love was very contrasting. So ultimately we sort of now we are like not close.
You're not in
friends
touch at all?
We are in touch because we live together,
But you're not as
but we are
close
not at all. Like that closeness, that telling each other all about all our secrets, like none of that's there
And
anymore.
why did this happen? Like, if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
it was so I'm somebody, it might be too personal, but I'm somebody who if I'm like close with somebody, I expect like them to check in on me from time to time.
Absolutely.
Not as a way to like, just because they are my friends, like because I care about them, they care about me. But she was like, okay, there's other ways of showing love, that you care about somebody other than that. So then there were like a lot of little things where we realized that our definitions of what it means to love somebody is very different. And I think it's so hard, like a friendship breakup is so hard, because we were two people who used to talk about like, romantic, like each other's romantic breakups, each other's crushes. And we never knew that we would be the ones to hurt each other like that.
Right.
And that it just hit like the same spot as a breakup would, but like 10 times deeper.
Oh my.
So I definitely agree. Friendship breakups are something that's never talked about, but it's the hardest thing. Like you rely on your girl besties. Like me, for instance, I rely on them for emotional support, morals, doing things, fun things together. But then when you lose that, it's like, it's tragic.
I so relate to this, and with that, I'm so happy to. I'm so grateful to have such friends in my life nowadays. I've said this on a lot of podcasts, Sani, that I was someone who never respected friendships, say 2 years back.
Yeah.
Like I was too much into my career and too much wanting to just grow and not give a lot of importance to friendship. But over the years, I've learned that you should be grateful for the kind of friends that you have. If you've liked these shorter clips here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And to watch the full podcast of these same clips, you can go to our main channel and watch the whole podcast. Until then, see you.